तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौतुसे नमः। वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone for today's morning Bhagavatam class. Generally we don't have this on Sunday morning, but because we couldn't have our Bhagavat live program for a while, so our discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam was pending. So we started with third canto, 25th chapter on the last Friday, on the previous Friday, and we saw how Devahuti requested Kapiladev or Kapila Muni to answer her questions. Something very important, very interesting she says. She said to Kapiladev, my dear Lord, first she glorified Kapiladev, who is Lord as well as her son. And then she said, my dear Lord, I've been put into this illusion by your will. And you only can withdraw me or save me from your illusory energy. A very interesting thing. Prabhupada, there is a question. Oh, does it mean Krishna has put her or Lord has put her into illusion or under the spell of material energy? Well, that's not the point. But what she means by saying that I've been put into this situation by your will is, I'll read out. Athamideva sammoham. This is text 10. Aprakrashtum tvam arhasi by you. Yo vagraho aham mameti etasmin yojitasva. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself as a body and consequent bodily relations. So, yes, Lord has engaged not her but all of us under the false illusion, have put us under Mahamaya. But why has Lord put us under Mahamaya? Because we decide to act on the basis of false ego. So when she says, a point to be noted, she said, because due to my feeling of false ego, which means ultimately I'm responsible, my feeling of false ego, my wrong identification, you have put me into this position where I have been put under illusion. Now you can only save me. Why you can only save me? Because it is your energy and you can control your energy. Like this, she makes a point, and she says, kindly tell me how to dilute false ego. And then Kapildev begins to speak from 12th verse onwards, where he says, my dear mother, the way, the process to dilute the false ego, misidentification, is called as Adhyatmika Yoga. Text number 13. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam Mato Niheshryasyayame Atyanto Paratir Dukhasya Cha Sukhasya Cha. So this is a seed verse for the next 8th chapter, where on this basis Kapil Dev would go on speaking about this kind of yoga like this. So he says, well, Adhyatma Yoga, by the practice of that, you will be able to free from yourself from this misidentification. And that's the subject matter which goes on. Now, when you talk about yoga, what is the first thing comes in your mind? Kapil Dev is saying practice yoga, and that is Adhyatmika Yoga. And then discussion will happen further on what is that Adhyatmika Yoga. But when you hear the word yoga, what is the first thing comes in our mind, or should come in our mind if you are a student of Bhagavad Gita? What is the first thing when you hear the word yoga should come in your mind? Yes? The first thing is mind. So that's what in the discussion that follows up. So here Kapil Dev, while answering the question of Madadi Bhakti, how to dilute false ego, practice Adhyatmika Yoga. And then he talks about the center, the mind is the pivot of all activities. So we need to purify the mind. And then he talks about what are the symptoms of people, liberated individual who have purified his mind. So this thing we got to remember as a practicing sadhakas. Before we reach the ultimate goal, there is an intermediate goal. And that intermediate goal is purification of mind. Purification from tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobhadayaschaye. So we have to get purified from this tamagun and rajagun, which consequently produces kama and lobha. What is a verse in Bhagavad Gita that talks about austerity of mind? Yes? Manha prasada samyatvam, yes? Okay. 17th chapter, verse number 16, Krishna talks about Manah prasada samyatvam manam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhiriti etat tapo manasamuchyate manah prasada samyatvam Manamatma vinigraha bhava samshuddhiriti eta tapo manasam uchyate. Mana prasada samyata. Samyata means simple, simplicity, which means no duplicity. Mana prasada means finding satisfaction. Mana prasada samyatvam manam, which means gravity. Very beautiful thing Prabhupada writes over here also. There are going to be some fantastic purports now. And Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita also, your fickleness of mind is proportionate to your unwanted speech. If you unnecessarily speak, it's just an indication of your rajasic mind. Because you cannot control your mind, that comes out through your speech. So therefore, one of the principles as mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami, and Upadeshamrita, it begins with Vacho Vegam. A sadhu is known by his speech, and so does a fool is also known by his speech. So nothing much has to be done, or whatsoever level of consciousness can be easily judged by what we speak. So that's the idea of Manaprasada Samyata Manam, which means gravity, speaks when essential, when required. Manam. Atma Vinigraha. Atma Vinigraha means self-control. Manaprasada samyatam manam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhir iti etat, and acts only for the purpose of purification. Tapo manasam uchyate. Then this is said to be austerity of mind. What is the austerity of mind? Manaprasada, finding satisfaction in what we do, in our practice. Manaprasada samyatam, simplicity, no duplicity. Speaking something, acting something, no duplicity. Third, manam, gravity, speak only when essential. Fourth is atma vinigraha, self-control. Fifth is bhava samshuddhir, acting only for the purpose of purification. 17th chapter, verse number 16. This is said to be the austerity of the mind. So, why did I quote this verse? If in case our mind gets tricky. So it is good to memorize some important verses to remind us how we should be acting. So when your mind seems like going out of its space or out of its place and becoming tricky and troubling us, then sit down and recite this verse. Manaprasada samyatvam. कहते मौनमात्मा विनिग्रह भाव संशुद्धिरिति tapomanasam because this is Krishna speaking to Arjuna, and not only to Arjuna, but through Arjuna to us. So Krishna is speaking to us. Krishna telling us, find satisfaction, control your mind, Atma Vinaya. So that helps us deal with the challenges of the mind. So anyways, that's a point which is mentioned here. Mind is the pivot, and then he talks about the state of mind of a liberated person, like that he described. And then Lord Kapila Dev says, very interesting, when you hear the word Kapila Muni or Kapila Dev, what yoga comes into your mind? Sankhya Yoga. And Prabhupada therefore in the first canto talks about there were two Kapila Munis. One was Kapila Dev that we know of in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, son of Devati, and there was another Kapila Muni was born in Kali Yuga, in the early years of Kali Yuga, and that Kapila Muni gave Sankhya Yoga without bhakti. Whereas Kapila Muni here speaks about bhakti. What is the evidence? Go to text number 19. 19 and 20, Atma, that, what is that, Adhyatmika और आत्मे का जो योगा की बात करेगी text number 12 में Adhyatmika yoga, so he cannot get into a lot of Sankhya discussion. But he says in text number 19, all your yoga practice are futile if it is not done with bhakti. Text number 19. Na yujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavati. Together. Na yujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani sadashtvasti shibha panta yogina brahma siddhe. Brahma siddhe. Perfection of life. Yoginam. It is said that yogi has attained a perfection of life. Sadashva asti Shiva Panta. Sadashva asti means इसके अलावा कोई और auspicious बात नहीं है. Shiva is auspicious. Panta means marga. What? Na yucchamanaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani. Those of you who have read Bhagavad Gita, very easy to understand the meaning of this verse. Na yujyamanaya bhaktya. Yujya means to perform, connect. If your practice is not filled with bhakti, towards whom? Bhagavati Akhilatmani. Akhilatmani is Supreme Personality Lord. Bhagavati Akhilatmani means Supreme Person. Whatever yoga practice you are doing, if it is deprived of bhakti, then you cannot get perfection in your yoga siddhi. In other words, yoga siddhi or perfection in yoga can only happen when you perform yoga practice with bhakti. So Sankhya Yoga that Kapila Dev gave was with the perspective of bhakti. Now that perspective of bhakti means Sankhya Yoga is analytical study, but the goal is very clear, to develop love of Godhead. But Kapila Muni in Kali Yuga, that Prabhupada quotes in first canto, he just spoke about Sankhya. Sankhya Yoga. That Sankhya is nothing what is called as modern science. You study matter without God. That's the whole thing about it. All right. And 19th, and similarly, then question comes, oh really, bhakti. So how do we get bhakti? Text number 20, Kapila Dev answers here only. Prasangam ajaram pasam atmana kavayo vidusa eva sadhusho krito mokshadvaram apavritam. You can get bhakti only from bhakta. So take association of sadhu. If you are fortunate enough to get association of a sadhu, then you will receive bhakti. And that is the conclusion of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 3rd chapter. The question asked by Srila Rupa Goswami, how does bhakti begins? Bhakti begins because I went to ISKCON temple and ate Krishna Prasadam, because I decided to read Bhagavad Gita. How does bhakti begins? And then he talks about it. Bhakti begins because some bhakta showed you his causeless mercy and engaged you in some direct and indirect service, and because of that you developed bhakti unmukha sukruti. And because of that bhakti unmukha sukruti, which is developed because of unconscious practice of bhakti, that is devotional, that is honoring prasadam, chanting the holy names, and then when it matures, you develop some shraddha in devotional practice. And because of that little shraddha, people come to temple. Why would people come to temple? Think about it. There has to be some shraddha, na? कि भैया प्रभु बैठे हैं, कुछ तो होता होगा, कुछ तो श्रद्धा है. And that shraddha fructifies if, not for everyone. So many people come to temple, not for everyone. But that Shraddha can fructify into next level if they are able to take sadhu sangha. Now that has become more challenging today because people come to temple. Isn't it so bizarre? How many of you agree, if you have noticed, social media has given an opportunity to everyone to really, really expand the horizons of their false ego. Isn't it? Through the social media, everyone wants to become a hero, a star. Even if they will go to the temple, they will not take the photo of deity, they'll take the photo of deity with themselves. And then they'll put on the status. Have you ever seen anyone's status? There won't be any photo on the status without them in the picture, center. This is nothing but utter false ego. It's just so bizarre. Why you have to put your ugly self in the picture again and again, particularly along with the Lord? You're putting a matter along with the spiritual thing. And you're spoiling the spiritual consciousness also. But no, there cannot be anything without me being in the center. So we have to be careful how false ego functions out. So anything, even if we meet with a sadhu. Now my point is, as a devotees, why you have to update your status? For what purpose? Simple question. Why do you post things on your status? Why you post a Facebook message or Instagram? Why do you post? What's the idea about it? You want to show the world how happy you are in your Krishna consciousness? And through that you are inspiring everyone to take to Krishna consciousness? Why? Everything is about false ego. Kuch bhi dalenge, it has to be, I has to be the name. Our usage of social media platform, if you really want to dilute a false ego, should be largely either to inspire people to take to bhakti or we preach bhakti. We preach bhakti, which means we share. Either we share things about what is happening in ISKCON. Let's say you went to temple, you saw something nice, you captured a kirtan. But kirtan capture karte karte na, camera hota to kirtan party pe. Suddenly वो कैसे आता है? Selfie mode में. This is how false ego functions. We don't even pay. How we are unnecessary, even in the spiritual activity. This is ridiculous. When I look at this video, I say, "तू क्यों आ गया बीच में? Said it. तुझे क्यों घुसना है बीच में?" Even if they will take a photo with sadhu, it has to be, you have to be there in the photo with sadhu. And the photo of sadhu will only go on the status if you are there in the frame. Have you noticed? Otherwise, that sadhu will not be there. So, whose photo are you putting on status? Sadhu's photos or your photo? And if you're putting your photo, then what are you promoting here? You're promoting sadhutva or you're again promoting yourself only? This is such a strange, you got to be careful. Lord फिर के ना I को हम छोड़ते नहीं हैं. हर चीज में I को रहना ही है. And that's our false ego. And the social media is so dangerous. Sorry, sometimes I get a little strong, but this is something which annoys me. धाम में जाके solo photo. I have told our media team also. मैंने कहा सोलो फोटो लोगे ना, मैं सब डिलीट मारने वाला हूँ. तुम्हारी धाम में जाके हम मैट्रिमोनियल साइट के लिए फोटो नहीं खिंचवा रहे, जो जाके सोलो फोटो खींचते रहते. मतलब क्या है? If you really want, how many photos if you click, how many photos you yourself visit? I'll tell you one occasion in those days when there were no digital cameras. Can you imagine what was the biggest occasion in one's life where they would really, get themselves, their photos being taken? This is before this whole digital age. What was that occasion? Marriage. Remember? Marriage में फोटो खींचती थी. वो केवल एक जीवन का इकलौता ऐसा इंसिडेंट होता था जहां आपको फोटो खिंचवाना अलाउड होता था, और अलग अलग पोजेस में फोटो खिंचवाई जाती थी. हर फोटो में आप आओगे ही आओगे. नहीं आए तो मतलब शादी किसी और की थी. और हर फोटो में आप आए तो इसका मतलब शादी आप ही की थी. Yes or no? Agreed? Have you seen those photo albums? And how many of you have noticed? After that marriage is done, with a lot of enthusiasm, you get that photo album. For a few days, you see the photo. After that, that hefty, bulky photo album will go inside some trunk for years, never to be seen. How many of you notice that? Agree? Please raise your hand. And once you are shifting house, when you are emptying your luggage, then you open a trunk, and from underneath some bedding comes one bag, and you lift a bag. अरे इतना भारी क्यों है? And you take out the bag, and then you take out and you empty the bag, and you realize, अरे इसमें तो मेरी ही शादी की एल्बम पड़ी हुई थी. This is the value of your photo. But now, because that is forgotten, now you have got this digital age, craziness. We're talking about diluting false ego. How is sadhaka dilute his false ego? Where anything and everywhere I have to be there. Even if I put a photo of sadhu, there cannot be a photo of sadhu without me. Front pose, back pose, side pose, top view, every view, I have to be there. This is not good. I mean, think about it. When somebody sees this photo, what will he think of you? Let me ask this question. When you see someone's photo like this, you put on Instagram reel or something, like, that's good, you put one or two photos. First of all, this is not something to be shared with others. These are personal moments. If you got your photo, you click with your favorites, devote something, you share one photo. Generally, it's not meant to be shared publicly because this is your private moment. Maybe in a small circle you can share. But imagine you seeing somebody's reel or whatever you call it, story and whatnot, and there are photos after photos in different poses with that devotee. What thought comes to your mind? Will come to your mind? Let's say you're seeing some third party's photo like this. What will come to your mind? What do you think? What will come? How many of you say show off? Raise your hand. How many of you say show off? Imagine when you put your photo, what people will say? Pagal hai nahi hai. So we know, yet we do it. This is called illusion. So be careful, be careful. Don't be victimized like this. Social media really spoiled our minds, and unnecessary has led to that subtle competition. And it keeps us unworldly conscious. Anyways, there was a point in 19th and 20th verse. How do we get bhakti? By sadhu sangha, and then sadhu sangha is glorified from 21st to 25th verse. So that one thing is established. Kapil Dev spoke about bhakti. Sankhya Yoga was only to instill bhakti like this. Text number 26 onward, we'll take a look now. Bhaktyapuman jata viraga andriyad drashta shrutanmad rachananuchintaya chittasya yatto grahane yoga yukto yatishyate rujubhe yogamaghe. Thus consciously engaged in devotional service, very beautiful verse, and the association of devotees. A person gains distaste for sense gratification both in this world and in the next by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. Able to control the mind. We're talking about this, what we call as Manaprasada Samyatma. One tip or trick I'll give you to deal with your social media's passion or bewilderment. If you want to share things about your community. That will keep you safe. Think about it. Somebody shares things about their community and community pictures where you can be in the photo frame also. Imagine you see somebody else's status or reel, whatever you call it, social media platform, where the devotee is sharing about his, let's say, yatra experience. And he has photos of where, different devotees went, what different thing happens, activities. Will that be more pleasing and satisfactory to your heart when you're seeing that thing? Or else you see that fellow has clicked his photos, मैं अभी कालिया घाट पे, मैं अभी राधा वृंदावन श्याम सुंदर के सामने, मैं अभी गोवर्धन के पास, मैं अभी राधा कुंड के पास, मैं अभी गोवर्धन परिक्रमा में जा रहा हूँ. What would be more pleasing? What happened? Why are you laughing? हाँ? सबके मन में एक ही छवि आ रही है. कौन आ रही है? This is okay. Let's keep the name aside. What do you think? What do you think of it? Of course, you're correct. I also saw. मैं अभी अयोध्या में, मैं अभी सरायू में. अब मैं साइड सराय को दर्शन लेने थे, तो कहीं बीच में आ रहा है. पावन दर्शन को दूषित कर दिया फालतू में. Anyways, jokes about, but it makes sense. You think about when you see that, you will not continue watching that story and say, fed up. This is ridiculous. This is nonsense. But now, if let's say he gives you darshan of the places, he shows you what the community as a community we did together. Would that be more inspiring? Yes or no? Would that be more an act of a bhakta? Would look like an action of a devotee? But somebody just pushing himself again and again. आज मैं book distribution में गया. अबे तू थोड़ा गया केवल. तेरे संग भक्त भी तो गए. Why you have to only post your photo that I went for book distribution? Why don't you click photos other devotees went for book distribution? When you keep clicking and putting your photos, tell me seriously, what does it indicate? What does it indicate? Just want to self-glorify. Problem here is, why am I discussing this? Problem here is, if you're in that state of consciousness, your mind can never be satisfied. Mana prasada saumyatvam. It can never happen. Why? If you're so much inclined to glorify yourself, then you're giving the control of your life into others' hand. Then people has to acknowledge you. And when people don't acknowledge you, can you ever be satisfied? Now you tell me, is there a limit of fame? What or how much fame should you get that your mind can get satisfied? Think about it. We are all sadhakas. I'm speaking of sadhaka. I'm not talking non-devotees here. You tell me, of course, I'm not saying we don't have the desire for puja la pratishtha. We all have that. Agreed. My question is, how much puja la pratishtha should I get wherein my mind can be satisfied? Prabhuji, I want to chant properly. My mind wants some puja la pratishtha. So let it be, let it get this much, and I will be happy, then I can focus, right? Because you can't even practice bhakti unless your mind is satisfied. So how much degree of puja la pratishtha do you think you should have that your mind will be satisfied? Let's say you post a photo on Facebook. Prabhuji, if I get 5 likes to my photos, mana prasada. Yes or no? Okay. Prabhuji, if I get 50 likes, mana prasada. Yes or no? When you will get 50 likes, then you will say, abhi agli photo pe 100 like hona chahiye. Yes or no? When you get 100 likes, you will say, next photo pe 1000 like hona chahiye. Yes or no? When you get 1000, there is no end to it. Are you in Krishna consciousness, or are you still acting as a plaything on the Maya's lap? So this digital media, social media ना, जो बच्ची कुछ भक्ति कर सकते थे, उसको भी पूर्णतः बर्बाद कर दिया. And particularly post-COVID, pre-COVID, we were living such a simple life. There was no online platform. Even I never went online. We will come together, do things here in person. And I can tell you personally, frankly speaking, I'll confess here, my life was so simple. My mind was so peaceful. I didn't have to worry about anything, somebody's liking, disliking, whatnot, how many audience are coming or not. My audience was this, 10 audience, 20 audience, 30 audience, be content. Because what is in front of you, that is what it is. And this is what going to be regular audience. Now, when the moment online thing came, then he started planning how to get more audience, unnecessary trouble. And then when many people go onto online platforms, somebody does nice, somebody doesn't do nice, then all the comparison happens. Unnecessary. Now everyone wants to become a YouTube star. Everyone wants to become a YouTube sadhu. Everyone wants their Facebook, YouTube page to be liked, subscribed, everything. I should get more and more subscribers. Why do you want more followers? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. After practicing for years altogether, where we could practice na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Now suddenly after post-COVID, which we're not realizing, post-COVID now everyone is saying, I want more followers. Why? For the pleasure of Guru Garanga. Which Guru Garanga told you should have more followers on YouTube? Who told you should have more followers on YouTube? For the pleasure of Guru Garanga. You see how mind tricks? And I can tell you what happens with this decision. Mind can never find satisfaction in anything. Where is the practice of yoga? The immediate goal is mana prasada samyata. Then ultimate goal can be reached. So that's how we have been caught. We have become a victim. So you've got to be very, very careful of this trap. And now because everyone got a smartphone, everyone has got their Instagram profile, Twitter account, whatever things we have. Click a photo, post a photo. Click a photo, post a photo. You can use that platform for preaching. Share about preaching. Share about community. Think about it again. If you speak about community, share things about community, wouldn't devotees be happy? I went to Queensberry, I had a Bhagavatam, Sunday Bhagavatam class. So our media team, Ritesh, was making this morning program videos. So one devotee was saying, Prabhuji, I saw the videos, so vibrant, so nice, so happy. I was so happy to see that for things of the community. Imagine that was posted on our social media platform, and I would have also posted that on my WhatsApp status. Imagine, rather than that, if I just take my own selfie, put it on the WhatsApp status, would I have ever received the comment? वो मुझे तो बोलते तू पागल है क्या? You're becoming more and more delusioned by just trying to promote yourself. But because community was thing posted, devotees feel happy to see that there is a vibrant Krishna consciousness. So to whom you want to please? Now do you think, Prabhuji, मैं अपनी फोटो मुस्कुराते हुए इसलिए डालता हूँ बार बार क्योंकि कर्मियों को लगना चाहिए भक्ति कितनी आनंदमय है? Tell me seriously, if a non-devotee see you smiling, would they become excited? Would they become envious? So what are you doing? Devotees will call you rascal. Devotees will call you rascal, and non-devotees will tell you, this is rascal. He will also call you rascal only in their perspective, and they'll become envious of you. तो तुमने पाया क्या? दोनों जगह से जूता खाया. हाँ, नो सोलो फोटो. हाँ, ऑलराइट. बहुत सोलो फोटो खींचती हैं, बोट के ऊपर चढ़ के, पहाड़ी के ऊपर चढ़ के, और शादी वादी किसी की नहीं हो रही. You know, ना जाने कौन सी मैट्रिमोनियल साइट के लिए फोटो खींचते रहते हम लोग. ठीक है, sorry. All right, where were we? So continuous absorption is the main subject matter of this verse. So my question to all of you here is, and it is said, and it is so true, where do we get an opportunity for continuous absorption? In what situation of life? There's only one situation. For all of you, as a brahmachari, we have an opportunity. But for all of you, those who are working, there's only one opportunity when you can get opportunity for continuous absorption. That is yatra or retreats. So very clearly, Kapil Dev says, thus continuously engaged in devotional service and the associated person gains distaste for sense gratification. Therefore, somebody has followed the yatra properly. Have followed the schedule of yatra. Not that he or she is following his own schedule. कभी मार्केट जा रहे हैं, मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम में आना नहीं, लेट नाइट शो नहीं, ऐसा उनकी यात्रा कभी सफल नहीं हो सकती. They'll come back with the same perverted consciousness with which they entered yatra. Because you didn't took the opportunity for continuous association. And yatra is designed in such a way that you are continuously in the association and in the association of, nama, guna, rupa, leela. You're hearing constantly. Because we draft out our own plans, we do our own things, even in yatra phase for us. But those of us who have gone through that experience of prolonged exposure of hearing and sadhu sangha, you will experience at the end of yatra a pain, a suffering arising because of you have to leave dham and go back to your city, wherein you will not have this opportunity for prolonged sadhu sangha. And if that has not occurred at the end of yatra, you're saying, thank God, घर चलते हैं, बहुत दिन हो गए, और घर की याद आ रही है, ऑफिस की टेंशन्स आ रही हैं. Your yatra was not successful. Even in yatra, you were in material consciousness. So the point here is, a person gains distaste for sense gratification. It's a process, and for that we need to have a prolonged association of sadhus, particularly hearing. That's the message here. Text number 27. And practice of bhakti yoga awards Krishna prema. That's what Kapila Dev says. Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge and renunciation, by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service, one achieves my association in this very life. How? By developing Krishna consciousness, not by serving in the service to the modes of material nature. Prabhupada's purpose is too classy here. Let's take a look at a few points. In the middle of the Prabhupada says, unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment to material service. Those who are not devotees, therefore interested in so-called humanitarian or philanthropic work, such as opening a hospital or charitable institution. Therefore, I have many times said, of course, this is not what I'm saying, this is what I have from my spiritual master, is known as Radhanath Swami Maharaj gave a very profound lecture on the subject matter of responsibility. You can look in audio content, you'll find that responsibility. And Maharaj makes a point there. It is so essential and important for every devotee to have some responsible service towards their community. Unless you have or you identify one responsible service, you can never be part of community. You can never identify with the community. Identifying and being part of the community means this is my family. Now, is ISKCON one family or different families? If you move from one center to another center, is still the ISKCON one family or no? You have to act to make it as a one family. You have to take a responsibility in whichever position you're staying, on whichever place you're staying. You have to accept. When we don't do that, and this is because of neophyte individuals who become a role of leaders or mentors or whatnot, and they also destroy the spirit of family by saying that, nahi, tu seva hamare yahan hi karega. And then they do online seva. And then they tell their followers, okay, on weekend you go for prachar here. Baba, what are you doing? You are telling your follower or student that where you are staying, that is not ISKCON. That is what? A mess, a hotel. You pay certain amount, stay there, Monday to Friday, do your job, and Friday evening you leave from there and I will engage you. वहाँ पे वो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? वहाँ पे वो होटल खोला हुआ है, वो मैस खोला हुआ है. This is how the immature people destroy this whole family spirit. Don't understand. If I am part of ISKCON, is the other part of ISKCON? And if that is not part of ISKCON, then why did you call up saying that please take our student? You call up the PG. There are so many PGs. So this is how it functions. So all the best for those who have this kind of immature fellows as a leader. They'll destroy your life. They'll not. Here, I'll read what he says. Kapil Dev says, if you have an immature or if you have somebody who's stuck at the Vaiti Sadhana Bhakti, he can only let you start Bhakti, but he cannot ever bring you to the platform of attraction to Krishna. Because you're already working under the modes of mental nature, how will you give attraction to Krishna? I'll come to those verses. After Devati asks question, then again Kapil Dev speaks about it. So we have to be careful of these things. So a good engagement in spiritual service. So it's important for us to ask, what is my engagement? And we know that because, we may not have that much engagement still because we are still a smaller forum. So we tried creating one engagement for all of you. If you ever wondered why Madan Sundar has made it as a rule, whoever stays here has to go out for 3 hours to 4 hours book distribution, because one service that was very pleasing to Prabhupada was, maybe we are not able to create some meaningful engagement, but at least all of us can try to please Prabhupada, na? And if we try to please Prabhupada, wouldn't we get more empowerment? So that's the reason why we made it compulsory. Whoever stays here has to go compulsory once in a week for book distribution. Otherwise, your staying is not staying. It's just like, again, a mess kind of a thing. It doesn't work like that. Later in the purport, Prabhupada writes, this kind of yoga practice in which the mind is always fixed upon the Supreme Personality of God and devotion results in liberation in this very life. The person who performs such acts gets in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore approved the process of hearing from realized devotees about the pastimes of the Lord. Hearing or associating with devotees is the most important function for self-realization. So this kind of yoga practice. What kind of yoga practice? Where one engages all his mind and senses in the service of God. These are the few lines above. When one engages in the spiritual activities or devotion service, naturally does not get any opportunity to engage in sense gratificatory activities. So there are certain responsibilities of a leader. One of the responsibilities of a leader is to ensure everyone is engaged. Prabhupada writes in one of the letter to his temple president, your responsibility as a temple president is to ensure everyone comes for morning program, is to ensure everyone chants 16 hours, is to ensure everyone follows 4 regular principles, is to ensure everyone have responsible service. Now, if I as a leader, anyone as a leader does not do that, if he doesn't do that, what does he become? Hotel manager. What does he become? Hotel manager. What he is concerned about? Paisa aaya, kitne log aaye. This is hotel manager. Rent samay pe aaya. Is that what we want to create our forum like that? No, there has to be. So this thing has to be. And this is direct instruction for Prabhupada for that purpose. And therefore, and Prabhupada said, if somebody doesn't do, then you have to correct that individual. And Prabhupada says, ISKCON ashrams are not free hotels. There are many instructions that Prabhupada gave in this regard, which means everyone has to render services like that. So this kind of yoga practice in which the mind is always fixed upon the supreme devotion results in liberation. Text number 28. So all right, so Kapil Dev gave some answers to Mother Devati's question. How to dilute false ego? The science of diluting false ego is practice yoga. Yoga practice is futile if it is not, the goal is not bhakti. The practice should be bhakti, goal should be bhakti. But that could be different kind of yogas, Dhyan yoga, Sankhya yoga, whatever. That Kapil Dev is going to speak about it. Now, to practice yoga, what is an immediate goal that we need to fulfill? Manha prasada samyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhir iti etat tapo manasam uchyate. The immediate goal is to control the mind. How can you control the mind if we act on Rajan Tamaguna? If in case we also act like how an ordinary person acts. And I gave you one example of social media. What does an ordinary person does? Anything, everything he keeps, he wants anywhere he goes, even if he goes to temple, he will not click a photo of deities. You have seen, we have put notice, you are allowed to click photos, but only of deities. Yet you will see people, they'll bring their beautiful face in front of the face of Radha Vrindavan Chandra. And they'll put a beautiful Radha Vrindavan Chandra behind their most beautiful face, which they consider, and click a photo and post on social media. This is the act of karmis. Yes, we have seen it. If devotees also act like this, what's the difference between us and them? We go anywhere and every photo frame I have to be there. I mean, either you click one video and tell people this is the dham, this is about the dham. Then this is preaching. But what is the preaching about? So we talked about it. So like that, if we do it, we try to promote ourselves. And this works very subtly, huh? Works subtly. And the end result is we'll always be dissatisfied. Because how many likes is enough? What is your, how much, what do you think Puja La Pratishtha will satisfy? And we give an example, 5 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 100 lakhs, 1000 lakhs. The more likes you get, ye dil mange. It continues like this. So those who already have their mind situated in Rajasic platform, first of all, they should come out of all social media platforms. They should not really do it. I'm telling you seriously, take a break from it. Don't do it. Don't post anything. Cut out yourself from that. Bring your mind a little bit in Sattva-guna. And then once you get, Kapil Dev speaks further, who is a transcendentalist? He already spoke about it actually. Who is a transcendentalist? Who sees things in the right perspective, which means now you begin to see things that everything has to be used in the service of the Lord. So does my social media can also be used. So my status message, my Instagram reel also. Now Krishna conscious messages begin to flow through your social media platform because your perspective has changed. Unless you come to that level of understanding, better take a break. Otherwise, mind will always be restless. And now, after describing all that, question number 2, text number 29. Yo yogo bhagavat bano nirvanatmam tayoditaha kitush kati changani yatatasvavo bodhanam. Oh, sorry. Text number 28. Devahutir vacha kachitvai uchita bhaktihi kidashi mama gochara yayapadam te nirvanam anjasanuvasnavaham. On hearing the statement of the Lord, Devhuti inquired, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? What kind of bhakti should I perform? Interesting. There are types of bhakti also. And now, Kapil Dev will speak about, yes, there is a bhakti performed in Tamagun, Rajagun, and Satmagun also. Text number 29. Yo yoga bhagavatmano nirvanatmam stayoditaha kridash kati changani yatastatva bodhanam. The mystic yoga system, as you explained, aims at the Supreme Personality Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand truth, the sublime yoga? In truth, the sublime yoga. It's very interesting. In the previous verse, Devhuti said, what kind of devotional service is worth developing? Practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet. So Devhuti knows what to practice. What to practice? Bhakti yoga. If she knows what to practice, then why is she asking about mystic yoga? Are you getting what she's saying? You all have access to the verses. In the previous verse, she says, my dear Lord, tell me what kind of devotional service to practice so that by practicing it, I can easily attain the goal of life, that is your lotus feet. When she wants to practice Bhakti yoga, then why she is asking about mystic yoga, which she doesn't want to practice anyways? When you already selected, then why you want to ask one of the options? Vishnu Chakra Thakur says, so this is the nature of inquisitive minds. They want to know, what is thing. And another perspective could be, is again to make a comparison that Bhakti yoga is the easiest. So that's the point. Prabhupada mentioned about all kind of mystic yogas. Text number 30, she says, I am a woman, I am less intelligent. Please be kind to me and explain me everything. Text number 31, Maitri Vacha. And Kadamani begins to explain or give the answer to the first question asked in verse number 28. What kind of bhakti need to be performed? And from text number 32. Let's read the translation 31. Shri Maitri said, after hearing the statement of his mother, Kapila could understand her purpose and he became compassionate towards her because of being born of her body. He described the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is a combination of devotional service and mystic perfection, a realization as received by disciplic succession. Text number 32. Now begins a profound discussion. Something which I spoke was from this discussion, and we'll elaborate that. Text number 32. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Devanam Gunalinganam Anushaveka Karmanam Sattva Eva Manaso Vritti Swabhavaki Tuya Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddha Gareyase. Anyone online would like to read? So my throat will get a little break here. Translation.
Can I read Prabhu?
Yes, Mother, go ahead.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Kapila said, the senses are symbolic representations of the demigods, and their natural inclination is to work under the direction of the Vedic injunctions. As the senses are representatives of the demigods, so the mind is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind's natural duty is to serve. When that service spirit is engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead without any motive, that is far better even than salvation.
Sattva evaika manaso, verse says, and Prabhupada says sattva means mind. Very interesting. Did you made an observation? When he again began to speak about Bhakti Yoga, what is the first thing he spoke again about? Mind. What did he spoke first thing about? Mind. Yoga has no meaning if the mind control is not an intermediate goal. And then he begins to talk about, very beautiful thing he says, mind's natural duty is to serve. Mind is the master of the senses. Senses are compared to devatas. Therefore, mind is compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mind. Bhajaure manam Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Manasa Deha Goyo Jokichumura. Like this, there are so many beautiful bhajans. The idea is the only challenge in our life, only struggle in our life is lack of cooperation from our mind. Only challenge. We need to become conscious and aware of it. We should not live or lead our life in such a way that we create complications with our mind. If we try to fulfill the mind's default nature, which goes to puja la pratishtha, by our actions and endeavors. I mean, why would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu among everything we say na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram? Because this is the default need of everyone, yes or no? And he says, I don't want that. We need to move from this platform to that platform. So we need to act in such a way. And therefore you'll see how spiritual societies or culture would function. Guru and disciple relationship, where disciple would do whatever Guru says. And he follows. And till the time Guru is there, he continues to serve the Guru till the end. Maybe the difference between Guru and disciple age could be 5 years. But he would only promote Guru, never ever oneself. Yes or no? And Guru means, one root word means heavy. His duty is to discipline. Discipline what? The mind. Free the mind. And therefore this whole, the training of discipline, the training of Madhukari. Why Madhukari? Why this word? It's so scientific. Madhukari really hits at your false ego. When you go and beg, regardless if you're the son of a king or whoever it is, if you're in ashram, you have to go and ask Madhukari. You go into Madhukari. And when you beg on the street, go door to door, and then some people may give you, some people may not give you. Then you realize, then you are humbled, and then you begin to pray. And then we develop prayerful attitude. And that modern day, the equivalent of Madhukari in the modern context is book distribution. When you go and walk up to a person, please take this copy of Bhagavad. He say, get lost from here. Why are you wasting your time? Somebody may hear to you and, may release a puff of smoke at your face. Bahut acha, jao. People may give to me. Yet, when we see that, then we realize we cannot convince them. Then we go into a prayerful mood. How many of you had that experience while doing book distribution? In the beginning, we are full confident. Hey, book lo, book lo, book lo. Nahi lena, nahi lena, nahi lena. After a few minutes, we say, yes, Prabhu, madad karo, Prabhu, madad karo. How many of you had that experience going through that? Now, this is only, unfortunately, remains during book distribution, but this has to come into our whole life. From beginning of the day till the end of the night, every time, whatever we do, my dear Lord, in a prayerful mood. That's the whole idea of bringing our things, bringing our mind under control like that. Fine, like this. The conclusion is, last few lines of the Prabhupada, is that when the mind, without being deviated either by Vedic injunctions or by material activities, fully engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotion to the Supreme Person Godhead, it is far better than the most aspired for liberation from material needs. See, one should know the result also. What will be the result if I give up on Puja La Pratishtha? Puja La Pratishtha is like ye samsparsha java hoga dukha yoniya evate adi antavanta kantaya nateshu ramate buddha. It has a beginning, it has an end. It will not give you eternal satisfaction. Just for a second, when you read, for example, we have this section in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, about Atma Rama. Read about Atma Rama, when we read about this liberated state of mind and all that, knowing that should give us confidence. The result is so glorious. If I can overcome these challenges of the mind and actually bring the mind to a state as described in our scriptures and our teachings, what a fantastic life would be. The very first thing that's going to go away from your life is fear. And that is one thing that binds us to this world. कब भारत पाकिस्तान में युद्ध हो जाएगा? अब युद्ध होगा तो उससे पूछ के थोड़ा ना होगा, थोड़ा वहाँ का शरीफ तुझे फोन करके बोलेगा कौन है जो भी अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर वहाँ का जो भी हो कि मैं हमला करूँ क्या, या मोदी जी तुमसे कंसल्ट करेंगे. जब होना हो जाएगा. खुद के अपने जीवन का नहीं पता, खुद का बाथरूम कंट्रोल नहीं होता, वो दुनिया को कंट्रोल करने में लगा है ना. बेसिक अर्जेस वी कैन नॉट कंट्रोल. सो दिस इज समथिंग when we understand where we are and where we have to go, and we understand where we have to go is so glorious, then we're willing to take to that austerity. Then we're willing to take to that austerity. That's the point here. Text number 32, we discuss about it. Text number 33, Bhakti leads to Mukti. Bhakti devotion service dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort. Just as fire in the stomach digests all we eat. Prabhupada writes in the purport. I made this point before. And the second paragraph, fifth last line. As soon as the tongue is controlled, naturally all other senses are controlled automatically. And I had elaborate discussion in Nectar of Instruction class. How do you control the tongue? Anyone remembers quickly? How do you control the tongue? कुछ नहीं बोलेगी, पकड़ लो, 24 घंटे पकड़ के बैठेगी जिह्वा को. How do you control the tongue? Yes. By engaging in Lord's service. How do you engage in Lord's service? How many rounds can you chant in a day? Guess, how do you control the tongue? How many hours in a day can you eat, and how many hours in a day can you chant? It's only a fraction of it. Chant for 2 hours, maybe 1.5 hours you eat, which is not even a fraction of your rest of your hours in a day. What do you do rest of the hours? Try to glorify. I mean, तो थोड़ा स्पीकर लगा के दिन भर बैठे रहोगे, ये प्रभु बहुत अच्छे हैं, हमारे ये प्रभु भी बहुत अच्छे हैं, बहुत अच्छी भक्ति करते हैं. That's not our job profile, sitting all day. Okay. How do you do so? How do you do so? Who remembers Nectar of Instruction? Every sense has their quota. And after that, it gets exhausted. And like our WhatsApp quota of messages got exhausted recently. Everything has its limits. Similarly, how much you can speak has a limit. And one has to understand their quota. And now understanding one's quota, if you engage only that much, rest of the day you'll become mauna. You'll not speak only. You'll say, "Arey, bahut ho gaya aaj ka." You try it out. That fellow will not speak. He'll become immediately disinterested in any and every conversation. I'm telling you. So you don't have to speak 24 hours. You need to understand what's your capacity and try to engage the capacity. How to understand the capacity? Slowly increase your amount of engagement. You chant for 2 hours. On Ekadashi, chant 64 rounds. And after chanting 64 rounds, observe how much you feel like talking now. Which means 8 घंटा मेरा कैपेसिटी है भाई. 8 घंटे हुआ ना चौसठ माला के लिए. 8 घंटे के बाद मैं बिल्कुल आत्माराम हो जाता हूँ, शांत, कुछ नहीं बोलना, कुछ नहीं सुनना. How would you get that experience? So you understand your capacity, and like that you work on it, and that's how you deal with it practically. Anyways, okay. Text number 34. What is the goal of bhakta? A pure devotee is attached to the activities of devotion service and always engaged in service of my lotus feet, never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities. Very profound purport. Prabhupada जी ने पटक पटक के मायावादी की पिटाई करी है इस purport में. पढ़ लीजिएगा अगर आपको थोड़ा entertainment चाहिए. Text number 35. What are the activities of a devotee? Machchita magata prana bodhiyantah parasparam katyantascha mamnityam tushyanti cha That's what, Kapil says. Oh, my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form with eyes like rising morning sun. They like to see my transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me. A very important purpose, which talks about Archa Vigraha, importance of deity worship. Text number 36. And because the devotee is engaged in this way, he very happily and easily achieves liberation. Although he does not want mukti, mukti follows him and he gets mukti like this. There is some important point from the purport. We'll take a look. Let's read the translation. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling, attractive, hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. Proper rights. There are three divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Second paragraph also says, when one is trained to become conscious of his position, you understand that he is a servitor of the Lord. Next paragraph. The word vilas is very important. Vilas refers to the activities, pastimes. It is a prescribed duty in temple worship that not only should one visit the temple to see the deity, nicely decorated, but at the same time he should hear the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, which is regularly recited in the temple. It is a system in Vrindavan that in every temple there is a recitation of Shastras. Even third class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Bhagavatam get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, their minds may remain always absorbed in the. Huh?
Should I read?
Am I not reading?
No, your throat is paining.
Oh, okay, no problem. Even third class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, their minds may remain always absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, His form. Something very interesting, you all would have observed also. Before coming to ISKCON, we all would have visited temples, right? And what used to be predominantly in the temple when you used to visit before coming to ISKCON? What did you saw in the temple? What do you remember of the temple? Anything? Maybe some arti? What else? Deities? Anything else? Building? Many deities? Some pujaris? Some arti? That's it? What prayers? That there, God knows only what they're praying, na? Oh, Bollywood का गाना गा रहा हमें क्या पता? खड़े होकर. So fine, these are things which you saw, agreed upon. But the point is, when you went and came back, nothing changed in you. You did not even plus one understood about why there are so many devtas here. So for temple, for us, in current generation, became a sightseeing place. Agreed upon? However, temples were never like that. Temples were never like that. Even in South India, if you go to ancient temples, old temples, there is a constant recitation of Shastras. Unfortunately, that is also not good today because people don't understand Sanskrit. If they don't understand Sanskrit, they cannot. And just like some of us who are from Hindi belt, our Hindi is also not so good anymore. Similarly, those who are studying in city, in English schools, their Tamil, Telugu is also not so good if they are reading Shastras in Tamil and Telugu like that. So, ISKCON, when Prabhupada started it, it's not only ISKCON, Gaudiya Math also. If you see, unlike in other temples, when you go to ISKCON, you cannot not come back by being plus one in your consciousness. If not, at least somebody would catch you and tell you something about Krishna. At least if you come back, you would have at least memorized one mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And you carry that sound vibration with you when you chant. Or else somebody will sign you up for a program, or some classes going on, etc. etc. This is what temples were before. Of course, I'm not saying temples had classes. That was also not there like that. Temples, the classes would be like Gurukul system. That was separate. The system of classes in the temple was started by Srila Jiva Goswami, not even Rupa Sanatana. It is Jiva Goswami who turned Radha Damodar temple into a university. And that's where he had students like Shyamananda, Ratan Das Thakur, and Srinivas, like that. So they had that. So that's what had happened. So that's the purpose of visiting a temple. Text number 37. Bhakta, although doesn't want, but unwillingly he receives all the benedictions that Lord gives him. Mother, you can read now, a translation.
Just because he is completely absorbed in thought of me, the devotee does not desire even the highest benediction obtainable in the upper planetary systems, including Satyaloka. He does not desire the 8 material perfections obtained from mystic yoga, nor does he desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. Yet, even without desiring, the devotee enjoys, even in this life, all the offered benedictions.
So Bhakta receives all benedictions. Is that difficult to understand? It's difficult to understand as long as we don't understand we are dependent at all times at Lord's mercy. If everything in our life is working under the mercy of the Lord, if Lord is providing for us, then why can't Lord give us benedictions? Lord can do everything. So a challenge if it arises because our fundamentals, our sambandha gyan is weak, that Lord is providing and protecting us at all times. Text number 38 about eternal opulences, the Lord continues. My dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft from them. Can you think of some opulences devotees may receive? Yes, Shubhru. Beauty. The devotees look so nice, so effulgent. How many of you think you became effulgent after becoming devotees? How many of you think? What do you think about it? Raise your hand, those who think that you all have become effulgent after becoming devotees. For a time being, थोड़ा हुलिया बदला होगा. हमारे भी एक समय थे, लंबे लहराते हुए बाल थे. जब पहली बार उड़ाया था तो मुझे भी लग रहा था यार ये कौन बहरूपिया बन गया हूँ मैं. But after a while, when you become a little stable in Sattva Guna, there is a glow on your face. There is and plus because you smile so much in bhakti, so naturally there is a little, that way. So how many of you, if you see your old photos and recent photos, you feel like, you know what, I'm looking smarter now. I'm ready for my next ashram. Yes or no? So yes, great. So, devotees are beautiful. What else? Opulences, yes? Yes, fame. आप ये बताओ बाहर किसी व्यक्ति को माला कब चढ़ाई जाती है? जीवन में सिर्फ एक समय माला चढ़ाई जाती है. राम नाम सत्य है. ओ या दो टाइम यस. शादी के समय और राम नाम सत्य. यस, दो टाइम. और दोनों टाइम ऐसे नहीं कि बहुत इच्छा से पहनता है. दूसरे टाइम तो उसको पता ही नहीं होती उसको माला चढ़ाई गई है. और उसके बाद आज जीवन मतलब उसके घर वाले प्लास्टिक की माला चढ़ा देते हैं उसकी फोटो पे. पर हमारे भक्तों को देखो, आए दिन डेला माला चढ़ती रहती है. भागवतम क्लास माला, ब्रह्मचारी क्लास माला. यस नो. एंड देन माला चढ़ती नहीं है, माला देने वाला प्रणाम करता है. He offered obeisances. When was it before coming to Krishna consciousness you ever received obeisances? You only received an instruction, offer obeisances. हाँ या ना, प्रणाम करो. पर अभी तुम बच्चे हो, बड़े हो, प्रणाम करते हैं. Fame, great. Beauty, what else? Respect, that's close to fame only. What else? Intelligence, knowledge. You get knowledge? Yes. Now, even a new bhakta who has been around for few weeks, when he goes and speaks, लोग बोलते हैं, अरे बहुत शास्त्रों का ज्ञान. Anyone of you had that experience ever? You on the street while doing the book this year something, and somewhere you quoted one shloka, and that shloka was a transformation of 4 shlokas. Somehow you completed the shloka. First slide started with Dharmashetre, Kurukshetre, Man Mana Bhava Madhvakto, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mahamekam. You mix some shloka and लोग बोलते हैं, बड़े ज्ञानी है प्रभु. हाँ प्रभु बताइए. Okay, beauty, fame, knowledge. What else? Huh? Sorry, what's that? Renunciation. Yes, that happens gradually. That takes a time. But renunciation, I can't make this point publicly, but I'll tell you later. Brahmachari also making interesting point. Okay. All right. What else? Huh? Courage. We would say you begin to become more and more fearless, which is courage. More and more fearless, isn't it? You take life with a certain boldness. Very nice, very nice. What other opulence? Huh? Humility, you develop humility. थोड़ा मुश्किल है यार अपने इस्कॉन के भक्तों को, बहुत जल्दी उनको प्रसिद्धि मिल जाती है, और जो सोशल मीडिया में बैठे हैं उनमें विनम्रता आना थोड़ा मुश्किल है. ये थोड़ा मुश्किल सब्जेक्ट है, इतनी आसानी से नहीं आता. विनम्रता कैन नॉट बी कल्टिवेटेड, इट इज़ ओनली अ गिफ्ट. You can't fake it. It's a gift of the Lord. But it comes, no doubt about it. What else? Huh? Huh?
Friends.
Opulences, good friends, good sangha, opulence. Very nice, good sangha, opulence. Happiness. Happiness. Isn't it? Where and what situation? Tell me, think about, before coming to Krishna consciousness, what was the situation when you would dance like mad? जब 2 पैक चढ़ाने के बाद नशा सिर पे चढ़ जाता था, भूल जाते थे कहाँ खड़े हैं, तभी नाचता था व्यक्ति. हाँ यार उसको एक बार गोल घुमा दो तो पंखे की तरह घूमता रहता था. अभी तो बिना नशे के उसको बीच में धक्का मारने की जरूरत नहीं है, धक्का मार मार के लोग बीच में जाते हैं घूमने के लिए. हाँ या ना, नाचने के लिए. So happiness. So like that is mentioned, one receives opulences. The Lord can remind you, devotees who receive such transient opulence are never bereft of them. The point is, this is what Krishna consciousness gives us. So many things we are already received. But at times when Sambandha Gyan is weaker, we don't realize because of whom we have received. And our material attachment continues. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences. Because the devotees accept me as they find their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, supreme deity, they cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. Prabhupada writes in the purport, once one is fixed in devotional service, his position of transcendental service cannot be destroyed. And the pleasure in service simply increases unlimitedly. Wow! क्या आपके मार्क करके अपने विंडो पे डालो. Once one is fixed in devotional service of the Lord, his position cannot be destroyed. Transcendental position cannot be destroyed, which means Nishtha stage की बात की गई है. And the pleasure and the service simply increases unlimitedly. Srila Prabhupada was in Mexico, and his schedule was such that from morning until literally late in the night, he went after engagement after engagement after engagement. And his personal servant said, Prabhupada, आपने प्रसाद नहीं लिया, Prabhupada, आपने पानी भी नहीं पिया. And finally, the last meeting ended at 10:30. Prabhupada said, now we'll feast. Chao. Puri sabji halwa bana ke lao. And he had fasted the whole day. He had not even drank water. He was so busy the whole day. And Prabhupada said, this is the success of life. I mean, पागल है आदमी जो बोलेगा ऐसा, दिन भर खाया नहीं. Which means Prabhupada must be experiencing certain joy when he's saying, and he's teaching us like that. Another occasion, he only got a glass of milk after a whole day of service. And Prabhupada said, wow, this is success of life. That's the point. Pleasure in service simply increases unlimitedly. Why worship Lord only is the next paragraph. You can read out nice, beautiful purport. We'll conclude with 39 and 40 verse. Some beautiful, beautiful purports actually. All right. Text number 39 and 40. How Lord reciprocates with devotees in sadhana stage, and Lord reciprocation to surrender devotees. Translation. Thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives of all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planners, or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relation to the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Wow. Any thoughts on this? What Kapil Dev is saying here? It's nothing but Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundari. Kavita Vajagadgish Kamai. I do not want anything else. Mama Janmani Janmani Ishwari Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahitukitwai. I just want causeless devotional service unto you. While living in this world, performing our responsibilities, how we will not get attached to our wealth, our family. Our cattle means of livelihood, which can be your job, which could be also means of transportation, your car, like that. Your home, how would we not become attached to them? ऐसा तो है नहीं हम पहले बहुत डिटैच थे, अब अटैच हो जाएंगे. वी ऑलरेडी कमिंग फ्रॉम द प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ strong attachment to sense objects. So now when we acquire more things, why our attachment will not increase? Unless we have gone through a phase of life where our attachment has slackened to sense objects, then when you acquire it, then you can be happy. But in our current situation, when we are already so attached, we have come from a platform of attachment and we are already attached, and then we acquire all these things. How would we become detached? Any thoughts? It's a generic problem. It's a universal problem. How Vedic Shastras or Vedic culture address this problem is my question to all of you. It's not a problem for you and I. It had been a problem from the beginning of the time. How was this problem addressed and tackled? Yes, Ritesh?
If it is wealth, then give that. This we will cultivate it.
But still, not everything can be. Okay, I'll give charity, I'll utilize my home for Krishna consciousness. Okay, but your attachment continues. You're engaging, you're dovetailing, but attachment continues. How do you, and it's, I mean, of course, that is only possible when you've gone through the situation of slackened attachment. When you're already attached from that platform, you cannot think like that. You will meet people who cannot even give 5 rupees in Krishna service. हमारा ये खर्चा है, हमारा वो खर्चा है, हमारे माता पिता का. They always have this excuse. This is possible when you've gone through a situation in your life when your attachment to sense object was slackened. I'm not saying destroyed, but was reduced. Vedic culture, example, yes. Vedic culture, Falgu Vairagya. Vedic culture, what? What was the system? It's a universal problem. What was the system? Yes. Yes. Varnashrama system works gradually, but what aspect of Varnashrama system? Correct. But what aspect of Varnashrama system? Answer is Gurukul. Answer is Gurukul. So, at a very young age, the child was sent to Gurukul. And he didn't have any facility. Everything was provided by Guru. Even the sins. When you see Dronacharya, when Bhishma Pitama sent his great-great-grandsons, both Kauravas and Pandavas, it's not that they were living a royal life there. They're living a simple life as the Guru can provide. It's not that because the sons of the kings, so Raja ka rasoiya khana bana ke bhej raha tha. No. They have to follow the principles. And what was one of the major essential thing of that Gurukul education was to make you dependent on the Lord and give you the harsh reality or the truth that, everything is temporary. So that kind of, hearing chanting will come there. That was cultivated. And that's from that platform, the person can take a choice, make a choice. You want to be brahmachari, you want to be grihastha. Of course, Dronacharya's Gurukul was not meant for this education because he was a martial teacher. But I'm talking about the Gurukul system where Brahmanas will give you education about Shastras. That was the aim. And then from there, when a person will come, and let's say he takes to the marriage life, whatever situation, because he has practiced 10, 15 years of life away from sense objects, and he has spent time with spiritual sound vibration, wherein he has cultivated attachment for spiritual sound vibration, parallelly practicing detachment from sense object. Even when he accepts sense objects, let's say wife, have child, has a house, such a person can easily give it up and go to the Vana plus sense sannyas stage. बोलने और कहने से नहीं होता. It doesn't work like this. Therefore, I often say, of course, it's not possible for all, but I am a pro or I am a great supporter of this idea that every man, at least for 1 or 2 years, should join Brahmacharya ashram. They should compulsorily live. I personally did that for myself. And when I do it, I took a sabbatical for 6 months. And after 3 months only, I said, I'm not coming back. But in our situation, where we're living an attached life in an attached world, how do you develop detachment? Somebody said, my hearing reading. What is the level of a hearing reading? How much do we hear and read? You're hearing, reading because you're in setup like Gurukul right now. But after getting married, there's no hearing and reading. How much? If not, ask Grahasthas. I'm not saying all the Grahasthas are like that. Most of the Grahasthas struggle with these basic facilities. Doesn't work out. Getting settled in a married life, trying to understand the other person's needs is a huge challenge. Then you have a child, another set of challenge. Then diseases, whatnot goes on. Then, not having sufficient funds. Then you work for promotion. Then you look for a job change. Then you move from one city to another city. Then your Sangha is lost. Then you go to another new city. Then you struggle in a new city. Is that a struggle or not? Changing position like that? It's an ongoing struggle. It's a very difficult thing. It doesn't work like that. However, if somebody has got some training in Brahmachari ashram, even for a year or two, I know it's difficult in the setup here. How do you take a break and then again go back to job? It could be challenging. So we got to plan for it, or else do whatever we can do it. But that is required. That is required, really. And you will see, I'll conclude this point for today. You will see amongst the Grahasthas, would have noticed, everyone would have noticed, those Grahasthas who got their training in youth, their service contribution is unparalleled in comparison to Grahasthas who got training in Grahastha time. How many of you have noticed and agree with this? Exceptions are always there. And the reason is because the man learned the art of, service. He rendered many services in a youth while living in youth center. He knew the importance of charity. And because of that training, he cultivated and raised his family accordingly. Even after becoming Grahastha, may not have very considerable salary, yet he is able to contribute because he has developed a taste for simple living and high thinking. His goals have changed. Unlike somebody who's in a Grahastha ashram takes to bhakti, it takes a lot of time because at max they can come once or twice in a week for a program. Everyday programs are also difficult because their kids are growing up. They cannot withdraw themselves. So it takes a lot of time for them to, really match to the contribution of those Grahasthas where, they were practicing devotee in their youth. This I'm quoting an example just to help you understand. I'm not trying to create a comparison, but I'm trying to help you understand when you have practiced cultivation or detachment, that helps you in a long term. But if you have not lived a life where you practice detachment to a sense object, and you have continuously lived with sense object, it becomes very difficult to become detached from sense object. It's a struggle. It's an incredible struggle. It's not easy like that. With that thoughts, I'll pause here for today. Again, beautiful, beautiful purpose here to this particular verse. And text 41 is what we'll pick it up when we catch up next time on Friday. Hare Krishna. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Any questions or any comments from any of our new audience? Any questions from the youths? Yes, Shan. Can you speak up on the mic? Are you signed in? Anyone? All right. Go ahead. स्पीकर का वॉल्यूम बंद कर दीजिए. हरे कृष्ण. बोलो.
Person who is following Vedi Sadhana Bhakti and is stuck there, for him it is not possible for him to take anybody above with Vedi Sadhana.
Yeah, correct.
He can only get people connected.
Connected.
But 90s class or we have seen that Prabhupada writes that anybody who is following like a guru can be at the stage of Madhyama and still qualify people for pure devotion.
Oh, no. Nectar of instruction. Am I audible? Nectar of instruction, Prabhupada, you can read this Krishneti Yasya Giritam verse, 5th verse, last paragraph. Prabhupada writes about it. If you accept a Kanishthadhikari as your guru, he can only raise you up to the level of Kanishthadhikari. If you have Madhyadhikari, he will raise you to the stage of Madhyadhikari. And a Uttamadhikari, therefore, the responsibility is regularly bring in association of seniors. That is how it functions. Therefore, our system is once in a week minimum we should hear Prabhupada. Duty of any leader is to introduce their audience to Srila Prabhupada, wherein they hear from Prabhupada. Of course, we're reading Prabhupada books, and simultaneously also introduce and create an opportunity where your forum can hear from your seniors, those are more advanced. Imagine if somebody keeps a forum at their level only, then they will grow only to the level this person is able to give Shraddha. It doesn't go beyond that. Like that. So Madhyamadhikari giving you access to Shuddha Bhakti or Prema Bhakti, I mean, he could, but it is up to what level he has attained, not beyond that. Prabhupada clearly mentions about it. Here, even in this section only, where was it mentioned? One of the purports, one second, Lord's position. No, this is prior here. Devotees ki baat kar rahe hain, Lord's reciprocation. Deities is this purport. Give me a second, I'll find out this particular section. This is Vilasa, Ash Vigraha. Pure devotee, there's different Mayavadi and pure devotees. Shalokya, Tang, Sankhya, senses. Hatha Yoga, devotional service. Unless one good engagement, this kind of yoga system. But even activities, it should be in the Sadhu Sangha section. Devotee who makes this and develop conscious service, whether one cannot make. One second. Go to text number 25. Okay, this is generic, association of devotees. Prabhupada clearly mentions attachment or attraction of Krishna Katha would only come from one who is on that stage of attraction. I'll give you that. One second. If any one of you in Veda base, you can search for the word attraction in 25th chapter.
Yeah, Prabhu, in which chapter 25th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's this verse number 18, Prabhu, text 18.
Text 18. Because this is where sadhus are being discussed.
And just share the screen.
Is this the reference? Krishna Katha? Clearly Prabhupada is Krishna Katha.
Mad Bhaktim Lebate Param.
This is not that. I'm talking about Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada writes in the purport, difference between Hare Krishna. Brahma Siddhai, Brahma. Hey, close the door, AC is on. Attachment to material things. Fine, I'll find out this. Prabhupada very clearly says, in Krishna Katha, Ruchi in the subject matter of Krishna or attraction towards Krishna cannot be given by Kanishta. You know, those who are situated in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
Attachment should be transferred to the self-realized devotee.
No. This word, what I'm saying, is clearly mentioned like that. There's a whole paragraph where Prabhupada says, I'll take a look, maybe not this, maybe I was reading something else like this. So there were nowhere in IDC is mentioned like that. Okay. How it can be facilitated when that devotee brings you, for example, we have yatra by His Holiness Adhana Swami Maharaj, various leaders take their yatra. So one way is we can say, अरे हमारी यात्रा तो होती है, उनकी यात्रा में क्यों जाना? No. We can bring you in our yatra to certain level of consciousness. Important duty of a disciple or a devotee is to create an opportunity of your community sangha with senior Vaishnavas. So we have to encourage everyone participation in such kind of yatras. Because what happened in this yatra? you get association of somebody who is very, very advanced in Krishna consciousness. And that Sangha, you develop some attraction for Krishna Katha. Like that is functions. Fine. Anything else? Yes, other view. Come. Mm-hmm. Correct. False ego. That's false ego, which means that I-ness disappears, like that. And dissolving a subtle body means now no more rebirth. Because subtle body is what keeps us tied. What happens after death is subtle body continues. When you don't have subtle body only, which means you're mukta, liberated, like that. Bhakti, which means your whole subtle body becomes spiritualized. Your mind is completely Krishnized. So there is nothing matter. That's what means dissolve subtle body. Fine. Yes, Shan. Madam Midavni, if you can write, that will be best. 2 lines for your question. Sorry, can't hear. What happened? Yes.
Krishna.
Yes, Ishan, go ahead. Mother, you can write in. I'll read out your question. Yeah.
So, Prabhu, you mentioned Mana Prasada Swamitvam. One should be satisfied in the state, but we had a discussion before in my class that we have to be result oriented for the services. If we go to book distribution, mostly if we are satisfied, then we don't push.
See, not like that. There are 2 different things. When it comes in Krishna's service, you're not going to be dissatisfied even the result is met or not. This whole subject matter of dissatisfaction, just like Prabhupada says, Bhakti Rasa Amritaha Sindhu. And preface Prabhupada writes about, there is, Bhakti Ras, and there is some Ras in Bhautik activity also. And what is the nature of Bhautik Ras? Is fleeting. Ayaram Gayaram. Therefore, when we are on Friday, we are looking for weekend. When weekend ends, we are looking for Monday. We are always looking for changing of position. That is dissatisfaction. It is not I am doing service. Now, what I am doing service, ideally, I have been told to do service, I do service. And I continue doing that service. That is what means finding satisfaction. How much ever result you are able to accomplish is on your effort and endeavor and the mercy. Now, in terms of dissatisfaction platform is, मैं आज ये करूँगा, कल मैं वो करूँगा. That is dissatisfaction. If somebody is going on book distribution day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, he may be number 1 book distributor, he may not be number 1 distributor. He is doing because I've been told. That means he has found satisfaction in his service. Like that. So saying that you should be result oriented, not result oriented, it should be goal oriented. What is the objective of the service? At least in our forum, I have never spoken about result consciousness. We always speak about goal consciousness. What is the goal? Goal is to distribute books. Therefore, we never give target. Have I ever given target here? When you give target, then it becomes result consciousness. Goal of Prabhupada book was to distribute more books. Then we talk about how to distribute more books. We figure out ways for means for it. Even we had a target for 10,000. I never told anyone of you we had a target. Unless we met and reached the target. Did I ever told anyone of you that we have a target like this? Nothing. So, I mean, of course, different leaders may have different perspectives. So, that's how we were doing. Was there something undue pressure on all of you? Hey, abhi 2,000 हुआ है, jaldi jao, jaldi jao. Was it something like that every year? You had book distribution opportunities. Who would like to go? Was it like that? Who all were involved in book distribution in December here? Raising hand. Was there ever pressure on you because we are not able to meet our result? Or you were told there is book distribution opportunity? Go. What do you think about it? What's the situation? What do you remember of that? Were you pushed out of the door? नहीं हमें result चाहिए, हमारा result बहुत कम है, जाओ. Maybe that discussion was happening between me and some of the organizer. भाई हमारा ये चल रहा है, we have to plan it. We didn't have that. At your level, you were not pushed into it. At your level, you were asked, opportunity was created. So those are 2 things. In Krishna consciousness, this situation of dissatisfaction cannot come. That doesn't exist. In spiritual activity, dissatisfaction doesn't exist. That little sense of dissatisfaction is just because I could not serve Krishna better. That devotee would always have. But not comparing it with our mundane efforts, where we are always dissatisfied with how much ever success we get, we are still dissatisfied. All right? Yes. Oh, that was your question. Whose question was it? That's your question. Your question is answered? All right. So I'm going to read a chat. Mother Medhavani is... All right. Mother, you should become a writer and will read your writings now. All right? So we conclude here. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. बाबा मदर का मतलब अनदर प्रवचन. मैं मीटिंग बंद कर दिया ना.